Hey music lovers, today we're diving deep into 1985, covering all the #1 hits of that year. These songs topped the Billboard Hot 100 and shaped our lives. If you lived through this incredible year, get ready to relive some memories. Now if you're discovering these gems for the first time, you're in for a treat. Forder kicked off 1985 with I Want to Know What Love Is, featuring the New Jersey Mass Choir. Lead singer Lou Gramm later revealed he wrote this power ballad during a personal crisis.
I wanna know what love is.
The song's gospel influence wasn't just for show. It was recorded in a church at 3 a.m. to capture the perfect acoustics. The choir's powerful contribution came after producer Mick Jones heard them at a gospel convention. The track took nearly 6 months to perfect, with multiple recording sessions across 3 different studios. George Michael's Careless Whisper marked his transition from Wham to solo stardom. What many didn't know is that Michael wrote this saxophone-driven hit when he was just 17. The iconic sax riff took 3 different saxophone players and multiple recording sessions to perfect. The final version features Steve Gregory on saxophone, though it took him 11 takes to achieve the sound that George wanted. The music video was completely reshot in Miami after Michael was unhappy with the original London version. REO Speedwagon's Can't Fight This Feeling transformed them from a hard rock band to mainstream superstars. Lead singer Kevin Cronin sat on this song for nearly 3 years, worried it was too soft for their image. The gamble paid off. It became their second and final #1 hit. The band almost scrapped the song entirely after initial recording sessions failed to capture the right emotion. Producer David DeVore suggested recording the vocals in complete darkness to help Cronin connect with the lyrics more intimately. Phil Collins dominated 1985, starting with One More Night. Collins recorded the drum track in 1 take, using the same reverb-heavy sound that became his trademark. The song was actually inspired by his divorce, a theme that would fuel many of his biggest hits. Collins played every instrument on the track except for the strings, showing his versatility as a musician. We Are the World brought together 45 of music's biggest names to fight famine in Africa. Michael Jackson and Lionel Richie wrote the song in 2 days. But here's the shocking part. Prince was supposed to have a solo, but never showed up to the recording session. The artists were asked to check their egos at the door with a sign reading, "Leave your egos here," posted outside the studio. Producer Quincy Jones had all artists perform their parts multiple times, choosing the best versions for the final mix. The session lasted until 8 a.m., with many artists staying far behind their scheduled times to perfect their contributions. Hey guys, we're just getting started. If these memories are hitting home, smash that like button and subscribe to our channel. Share your personal stories in the comments and help us keep these musical memories alive. Madonna's Crazy for You surprised critics who had pigeonholed her as just a dance pop artist. The song almost didn't make it to the Vision Quest soundtrack, the film's producers initially rejecting it, until Madonna personally convinced them to listen to it again.
I'm crazy for you.
It marked Madonna's first ballad release and was recorded in 1 marathon session lasting 24 hours. Simple Minds initially turned down Don't You Forget About Me after multiple artists rejected it. The band recorded it in 3 hours, thinking it would never be a hit.
Don't you forget about me.
The La 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 ending was completely improvised in the studio. Keith Forsey, the producer, had to fly to London to personally convince the band to record it. Lead singer Jim Kerr refused to write any additional lyrics, which is why the La 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 portion exists. Wham's Everything She Wants revealed George Michael's darker songwriting side. The track was actually recorded twice. The single version is completely different from the album version, with new vocals and arrangements. Michael played every instrument on the track except the guitars. The song's lyrics were inspired by gold diggers he'd encountered after achieving fame. Tears for Fears broke through with Everybody Wants to Rule the World, recording it last minute for their album. Roland Orzabal and Kurt Smith almost left it off Songs from the Big Chair because they thought it was too simple. The entire track was built around a guitar riff that guitarist Neil Taylor improvised during a sound check. The driving drum beat was actually inspired by a Simple Minds song. Bryan Adams struck gold with Heaven, written for the forgotten film A Night in Heaven. The power ballad was recorded in one day when Adams and his band were taking a break from their tour. The song's distinctive drum sound came from producer Bob Clearmountain's innovative use of gated reverb. Journey's Jonathan Cain played keyboards on the track, though he was uncredited. We're halfway through 1985's number ones, and the hits just keep on coming. If these songs are bringing back memories, don't keep them to yourself. Hit subscribe and share this video with friends who lived through this amazing year. Leave a comment telling us your favorite song so far. Phil Collins returned with Sussudio, a word he made up while improvising lyrics. The track faced criticism for sounding too similar to Prince's 1999, which Collins openly acknowledged but defended as unintentional. The horn section was performed entirely on synthesizers, though many listeners assumed real brass instruments were used. Collins spent 3 weeks perfecting the drum track alone. Duran Duran's A View to a Kill became the only James Bond theme to reach number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100. The band recorded it after a 36-hour recording session, running on nothing but adrenaline and coffee. John Barry, the legendary Bond composer, initially clashed with the band over the arrangement, but later admitted their instincts were right. Paul Young's cover of Every Time You Go Away demonstrated how a great interpretation could surpass the original. Daryl Hall wrote it years earlier, but never released it as a single. Young's version featured backing vocals by the Q-Tips, his former band. The saxophone solo was performed by session legend Gary Barnacle, who recorded 7 different versions before everyone was satisfied. Tears for Fears returned with Shout, which took over 6 months to record. The band spent so much time perfecting the drum sound that their engineer nearly quit in frustration.
Shout, shout, let it all out.
The signature guitar riff was actually played on 6 different guitars, layered together to create the massive sound. Huey Lewis and the News created The Power of Love specifically for Back to the Future after Steven Spielberg personally requested their participation. The band wrote and recorded the song in less than 2 weeks to meet the film's deadline.
The power of love is a curious thing.
The distinctive guitar sound came from Chris Hayes using a rare 1959 Gibson Les Paul, borrowed from a collector. The hits of 1985 just keep rolling. If you're enjoying this musical journey, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring that bell for notifications. John Parr's St. Elmo's Fire wasn't actually about the movie. It was inspired by Paralympic athlete Rick Hansen. The song's subtitle, Man in Motion, was a reference to Hansen's wheelchair journey around the world. Producer David Foster insisted on recording the guitar parts more than 30 times to achieve the perfect take. Parr wrote the lyrics in less than 3 hours. Dire Straits' Money for Nothing actually featured Sting on backing vocals, though he was never officially credited. The controversial lyrics came verbatim from a worker Mark Knopfler overheard in an appliance store. The groundbreaking music video took over 3 months to create and cost nearly $100,000. The signature guitar riff was played through 4 different amplifiers simultaneously to create its distinctive sound. Ready for the World dropped Oh Sheila and created waves in the industry. Despite widespread belief, the song wasn't about Prince's protege, Sheila E., the band just liked how the name fit the melody.
Oh, sugar, where you been hanging out with me?
The track was recorded in a small Detroit studio on a budget of less than $5,000. The drum pattern was programmed on a Roland TR-808. Aha's Take On Me took 3 releases and a groundbreaking video to finally hit #1. The innovative rotoscope animation took 4 months to complete, using over 3,000 frames hand-drawn by artists. The song's signature synthesizer riff was created using a Yamaha DX7, one of the first digital synthesizers. Whitney Houston's Saving All My Love for You marked her first #1 hit. The song's subject matter, about a woman involved with a married man, initially worried her record label. Clive Davis personally supervised the recording sessions, demanding over 20 takes of the final vocal.
So I'm saving all my love for you.
These songs defined a generation. Help us preserve these musical memories by hitting subscribe and sharing this video with fellow music lovers. What memories do Whitney Houston's early hits bring back for you? Let us know in the comments. Stevie Wonder returned to the top with Part-Time Lover, featuring Luther Vandross and Philip Bailey on backing vocals, a detail many fans still don't know. The track was one of the first to use digital recording techniques extensively.
With part-time lover, if she's with me.
Wonder programmed most of the synthesizer parts himself, despite his blindness, by memorizing the sound of each preset. Jan Hammer made history when the Miami Vice theme topped the Hot 100. He performed all the instruments himself, using cutting-edge synthesizer technology. The track was recorded in Hammer's home studio in upstate New York, using a Fairlight CMI synthesizer that cost more than a house at that time. The distinctive crash sound was created by sampling actual police sirens. Starship's transformation was complete with We Built This City. The song was written by an all-star team including Bernie Taupin, Elton John's longtime lyricist.
We built this city. We built this city.
The track featured state-of-the-art production techniques, including one of the first uses of digital sampling in a rock song. The radio DJ voiceovers were recorded in 4 different cities to give the song regional appeal. Separate Lives reunited Phil Collins with producer Arif Martin. The duet with Marilyn Martin was written by Stephen Bishop after a painful breakup with actress Karen Allen. Collins and Martin never actually met during the recording. Their parts were recorded on different continents and mixed together. Mr. Mister's Broken Wings soared to #1 despite technical difficulties. The band recorded the song while dealing with serious equipment problems. Their synthesizers kept breaking down.
Take these broken wings and learn to.
Inspired by Khalil Gibran's spiritual book, The Prophet, the track features a complex layers of electronic and organic instruments. Lionel Richie closed out 1985 with Say You, Say Me, written for the film White Nights. Richie almost didn't record it because he was exhausted from his Can't Slow Down tour. He wrote and recorded the entire song in less than 2 days, playing most of the instruments himself.
Say you, say me.
The song won both an Academy Award and a Golden Globe. And there you have it, every #1 hit from the unforgettable year of 1985. Each song carries its own fascinating story. Each artist brought something unique to the table, and together they created the soundtrack to an incredible year in music history. If this journey through time has sparked memories, don't keep them to yourself. Hit that subscribe button, share this video with friends who lived through this amazing year, and leave a comment with your personal stories from 1985. Until next time, keep the music playing.